Most of us have heard about the Peace Corps, but have you heard about Americorps? Stay with us and find out. Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. What is Americorps? Well, it must have something to do with America, and it must have something to do with a group of people who are organized. On today's show, we have participants and the program director, Maddie Grimm, who is here to explain what Americorps is, what it does, and how it impacts our communities. So welcome to the show, Maddie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, everybody wants to know what Americorps really is. Is there a quick answer if somebody says, what is Americorps?
Well, what I like to explain to people is Americorps likes to say they want to get things done. And by that getting things done, it means that individuals will focus on a need in the community and meet that need by utilizing their skill set to do so.
How does this compare to, like, I think lots of people know the Peace Corps because it's been around forever. And then I think there was a program called Vista for a while that was kind of more of internally in America. So how do you compare Americorps to the Peace Corps?
Well, what we like to call Americorps is the domestic Peace Corps. So Americorps is focused on getting things done in America, whereas Peace Corps focuses on service that is done outside of America.
So I'm going to keep probably referring to Peace Corps because I think that's been so ingrained in the American people they kind of know. And historically, as I recall, the Peace Corps recruited young people right out of college and sent them overseas. So how is that compared to Americorps? Is that what you're still doing?
With Americorps, we focus on people of all ages. To qualify for Americorps through our program, you have to be 18 years of age or older, but we don't really have an ending point for the age range for Americorps programs. We focus on people with all types of skill sets and from all regions of the country. And for United Way Porter County, we focus on particularly individuals living in the Northwest Indiana community, but we do have individuals that are interested in moving to the region as well to focus on Americorps with Northwest Indiana and the United Way of Porter County.
So I'm glad you brought up that this is a nationwide program, as we talked about, so this exists everywhere. You just happen to be working in the 7 counties of Northwest Indiana, or the 3 counties I think you're focused on?
We right now have our foothold in 4 counties. We're trying to expand that. Right now it's Lake County, Porter County, LaPorte County, and Marshall County. We have served in the past in Stark County and are continuously trying to increase that foothold in the community. The one challenge that we face that we always are trying to recruit for is, and I'm glad we're here today to discuss this, is the sites that focus on Americorps service.
Okay, I'm going to get back to the sites in a minute. I'm going to still go back to who are these people. So we've kind of said, you said 18 and older. So what is kind of the profile of the people who get involved with this? Like, how many people do you have that are kind of in that young category, and how many are kind of maybe over 30 that are working with you? Percentage-wise, maybe?
Well, we actually have a very diverse age group of individuals that are focused on Americorps. We do receive a lot of applications from individuals that are currently in college and are focusing on Americorps service because they're looking for the utilization of that education award to pay for student debt after college.
So there's a benefit, right?
There is a benefit.
Right there.
There's quite a few benefits.
So why would somebody want to do this besides I can get some of my debt from college paid off, right? But how about for an older person? They probably have paid off their college loans a long time ago, perhaps.
Well, I like to say with Americorps that everybody comes to the application table with a different set of needs and a different set of goals.
So you have to figure this out, right?
Absolutely.
Why somebody would want to do this. So you talked about there's an application process. So how do you find these people? I mean, how do people know about Americorps or come to you?
Well, what I like to say is with the Americorps recruitment process, we're trying to have several outlets out there to be able to do that. Recently, being that our community is very focused on online-based kind of ads and things like that, we've been trying to increase our online presence, but we also place flyers in the community. We go to local university career fairs. We are also trying to focus on, particularly on social media as an outlet to reach people, and also a website presence where people can learn more about Americorps.
So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show was because I think a lot of our viewers might know people. They might have grandchildren who are in this category, even their own kids, neighbors who are looking for a work experience or a way to kind of contribute to the community. And Americorps is really one of those opportunities, right?
Absolutely. Americorps is a great way for individuals to give of their talents. Also, it helps these individuals to further their resumes, as well as for individuals looking to, say, return to some type of hobby or activity to increase, different happiness or increase their focus on the need in the community. Americorps provides.
They get paid for this?
They do. I'm glad that you mentioned that. There is a stipend.
You make a lot of money?
You don't make a lot of money, but what we like to say about Americorps is the goal is service. And what we provide for the Americorps members is a living stipend. And that living stipend is meant to help cover living expenses during the term of service.
Which is better than just volunteering and just having to cover your own expenses. So at least this gives you something to kind of live on and pay rent and those kind of things. You're not going to get rich doing this, right?
Absolutely. But what we like to say with AmeriCorps is there's so many more benefits than just focusing on the living stipend. That on the site experience, that enrichment that people receive when they participate in activities where they feel like they're making a bigger difference, that kind of thing.
So we're going to talk to a couple participants here in a few minutes and find out about their real experiences. But what kind of excites you about doing this? What's the fun part of this job for Maddie Grimm?
Well, first off, I'm actually an AmeriCorps alum. I was a 1,700-hour full-time AmeriCorps member in 2012 and 2013, serving at Tall Tree Arboretum. So what excites me about being the AmeriCorps program director is that I get to number one, give back to the community and get people involved in giving back to the community. And I get to explain to everybody my service and my love for what I did. And I also get I get to work with a really great group of people doing really great things. And as an AmeriCorps program director, it's really rewarding to see all of that impact that we're having.
And they're basically placed in or paired up with nonprofit organizations to work on projects. Is that the way it is?
That's correct. Nonprofits and schools are kind of that bread and butter of our sites, like we mentioned earlier in the segment. Basically, we have three categories of AmeriCorps program service. AmeriCorps member service tutors, enhancing the literacy and mathematics education of students, trying to increase those test scores to get them to be able to succeed in life. Okay. We have career advisors that focus on helping young people improve upon their resume building and interview skills to help them after they finish high school.
And actually, I know the third one. It's capacity building, right?
It is capacity building.
So it's helping those organizations. I'm showing how smart I am about this. So it's helping organizations bring people to get more people involved in their organization, right?
Absolutely. And what we like to say is we like that the AmeriCorps members recruit volunteers at that capacity building site because they're able to accomplish things that the nonprofit wouldn't normally be able to do on their own. So
if somebody's interested in doing this, because I want to get to the segment where we can interview a couple of the people who are in the program, what do they need to do? If I know somebody or I'm interested, what would I do to find out?
Well, they would contact me, and the easiest way to contact me is to go to the United Way of Porter County's website.
Which we will put on the screen for everybody, okay?
Excellent.
Or they can call.
They can definitely call me and email me as well. Email is a very quick way to reach me.
And Porter County just oversees this program for all these counties. This is not a Porter County only program. It's
Correct.
for our region.
It is for our region. We just happen to be housed out of Valparaiso, Indiana.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Well, thanks for being here. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk to 2 participants in the program.
Sometimes I think that I'm a dreamer, the one that's standing all alone. The time is now, not when. I'm reaching for your hand. Will you go where I go?
I love it!
The game is on.
That's show business.
Live life like I never have.
We're back to meet 2 Americorps participants who've been in the program for a while. I think we actually call them members, but let's meet Claire Reed and Mark Zimmerman. So, do they refer to you as participants or members?
Members is the proper term.
But they
yes.
call you Mark and Claire, right?
Yes.
Just the way it works. So, Claire, we talked a lot about younger people, and we can see, Mark's gray hair. So we're assuming you're the younger version. He's the older version of this,
Yeah.
which is a great match. So, how did you get into this program?
Well, I fell into the program in a way because the site that I visited, which was the Art Barn, I had just gotten out of college. I was looking for a job and a place to get some experience. And they started me off as a teacher, like a part-time teacher. And then they said, hey, would you like to work with us a little bit more, do some like volunteer coordinator? And the next thing I knew, I was being hooked up with Americorps.
So you came
As a-
on and volunteered at this organization. You must be interested in the arts,
Yes, I am.
okay?
Yes.
So you went and found a nonprofit that you heard about.
Yes.
And you said, I want to volunteer in here.
Yeah.
And they liked you enough to say, we'd like to figure out a way to keep you here more permanent for a while, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Mark, you and I actually have known each other for a long time, and I see you as a very accomplished professional in our region. You've done a lot of interesting things, and so someone might look at you and say, what are you doing in Americorps? So how did that happen for you?
Well, yes, my background is in human resource management. I've been with several organizations over the years. When I retired, I was looking for another way to apply my experience, giving back, so to speak. I was actually sitting in a Kiwanis meeting one day when there was someone from the United Way office making a presentation, and at the end, she said, by the way, we also are the Americorps sponsors here locally, and some of you who are recently retired, this might be a nice avenue for you to pursue. So that's what sparked my interest.
So it's interesting when people see this retirement thing, you transition from the career you'd been in for a long time, but you said, I still want to continue to do something in the community. I want to take my experience and wisdom. So where have they put this wise, experienced person?
Well, initially, when I met with the director at the time, she presented me with different options. And initially, I started out selecting Tall Tree, of all places, which is where Maddie served. But then I went to Dayspring. I served 1 year. My first contract year was with a homeless shelter in Valparaiso. And I was responsible for recruiting new members, volunteers for the center.
Wow, so
And it was a very rewarding experience.
so this is good to know. You can do this for more than 1 year. So this is your second year doing it.
This is my 4th year, actually.
Fourth year doing it.
Yes. And so then over the last 3 years, including this year, I've been a career advisor helping high school students with the Porter County Career Center in Valparaiso with resume writing, job interview skills, all the things necessary to help prepare them for their future careers.
Now, Claire, you talked about, you're doing that capacity building piece
Yes.
that I think Maddie talked about earlier. So what are you doing at the Art Barn? What are you trying to do there?
At the Art Barn, I am trying to build up their program, specifically their volunteer program, because even though this place has been around for a very long time, they recently lost their founder. She had passed away, and so now they're trying to rebuild and let people know, hey, we're still here. Come out to the Art Barn and visit us. So everything I do is trying to attract people to come in.
So you're trying to get people to come there, but you're also trying to get volunteers to engage more with this organization,
Yes.
help kind of build that capacity.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. You're just fresh out of school? I mean, when did you
Yes.
graduate? Just last year?
This past May.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're just 6 months or so out of school.
Yes.
And so how has this been as an experience for you? I mean, like, man, I'm learning so much, or yeah, it's not bad. Which is it?
It is awesome because I've never been in a position like this where I've been able to utilize my skills of what I'm good at and then take the skills that I'm learning and take them in different areas to
Okay.
improve my resume and
And
just
your
the
ability
knowledge,
to kind
my
of,
ability
yeah, I mean,
to
this is
grow.
really going to give you a great foundation for your career.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So what does this do for you, Mark? What's in it for me, right?
Sure.
What's in it for Mark?
It has been very rewarding. I've been able to give back. I've been helping high school students now for the past 3 years with many, many success stories. A lot of instances where I've conducted mock practice job interviews with students, and then they go on to the interview itself. They come back running down the hallways, sharing with me the fact that they've received the job offer. Thank you so much for your help. It's just been very rewarding. I've been working with the teachers at the Career Center now for 3 years. I've developed PowerPoint presentations for the teachers, different handout materials for them to use with their students as well. So I've been a resource for the teachers as well.
So given the fact that you were in human resources before, do you give them any little tips to like torture human resource people when they go to interview?
Yes, I tell them, number one, do your best job to get around the human resources person if you really want to get the job.
They're trying to avoid people like you.
Avoid me at all costs. And then, and I give them tips like writing thank you notes after the job interview, for example. I actually had one student who took my advice and wrote a thank you note. He not only wrote a thank you card after his job interview, but he took a blank card with him to the job interview, kept it in his car. He wrote the thank you note after the interview in his car in the parking lot, walked back to the reception desk, gave it to the receptionist, and said, could you please give this back to the person who I just interviewed with? It blew them away that night.
Now, did you give him that tip?
The tip was, make sure you write a thank you note of some type. I'm old school. I said a thank you card instead of the internet. And the students listened to me, and that's what they're doing now. The employers are commenting to the director, John Groth, at the Career Center. They've called him and said, what are you doing with these students? They're coming now prepared. They seem to know which questions we're going to ask. What's going on? They've noticed the difference.
Have you told them the secret sauce here that's going on?
Yeah, well, that might cost a few lives, but it's been fun.
Well, this is really great that you're able to take that experience and that background. I mean, you got the inside scoop and helping them. I want to shift over to Claire and ask about this compensation thing. I assume, Mark's probably rolling in dough since he worked so many years. But for you, I mean, this is kind of first job and you get some compensation for it. Is this also helping you with your loans?
It is actually.
I assume you have loans.
Yes.
And so what happens? You get some of your loans forgiven, or they give you money to pay some of those loans off?
They give me money to pay some of those loans off. Not all of it, but a portion, which helps kind of lessen the load of all the money that's due.
Can you live on what you're getting paid to do this? Be
Yeah,
honest.
I think it's possible, yeah.
It's just tight.
It's tight, and I'm one of those kids that still lives at home, so I have my parents' help as well. But it definitely helps so that we can move on with our lives to bigger and better things in the future.
So you think after this year, let's say you've finished this opportunity up, how prepared do you think you're going to be to step into another job?
Tons.
Well, the one thing I can tell is you're going to be confident, because you seem very confident in what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's like, how do I do this? Because it's so new. But it's wonderful because it's, picking up a new skill and putting it towards something that you care about.
So I want to ask Mark, I'm going to ask both of you, why should somebody else do this? And I want to expand out. This is not just for somebody who's retired. I've seen people who are like, hey, I'm 42 years old and I'm this point in my career that I want to transition, or I'm not sure what I want to do right now. So there's many opportunities to step in. Why should anybody in any of those categories jump in and do this?
It's a way of providing service to your community. Number one, it's a way to give back. There are a lot of individuals out there that are trying to find that niche, that place where they would like to try to serve somewhere. And
So this would let them explore a little bit their own
you can explore
skills.
different options, different skills. One thing I wanted to mention was the fact that my younger son was an Americorps member as well. While he was a student at Purdue University, one summer he helped with a Day of Caring, which is the United Way program, and that was his assignment for the summer months. So we have a father-son tag team
It
going
runs in
on.
the family. Why should a young person do this?
For many, many reasons.
Give me a couple.
Well, one, obviously, the help pays off loans, but also two, the money, if you don't have as much loans to pay off, you can take some of that money towards, say, if you want to get your master's degree later on, or any education for that matter later on. Another good reason is because Americorps provides different opportunities to help nonprofits and the schools in the area. So there are different opportunities, and you can, like Mark said, you find your niche, and you kind of feel like you have like a good fit.
You guys are both great examples of people being in this, and your enthusiasm for it is so high. And 4 years, Mark, that's pretty incredible. Is there going to be a fifth year?
I'm serving. I'm at the end of my term of service after the 4th year. So this, unfortunately, is the end of my Americorps career. But it's been a great one. And I think another thing I wanted to add in terms of why someone would want to do this is just the networking opportunities as well. You begin to network with individuals that you never could imagine. And that would be helpful for a younger person, especially as they're looking for their future career opportunities.
Thank you for all of the insights you guys have provided. I know we're going to put on the screen again the website that people could contact if they want to find out. I want to remind our viewers that this is great to refer people over. If you're not interested yourself, you might be able to refer someone. So thank you for sharing your stories and
welcome.
your passion
Thank you.
and for giving back to the community.
Thank you.
Volunteers are a very important part of many organizations. Volunteers totally operate some nonprofits and supplement the paid staff in others. They do everything that needs to be done and more. Whether it's the simpler task of stuffing envelopes, making calls, packaging food, cleaning the restrooms, or driving a bus, they handle jobs that must be done. If it's counseling a grieving adult, organizing activities for a wild bunch of kids, writing a grant, advocating for critical legislative changes, or presenting to a large audience, their contributions are vital to the success of many endeavors. I find it particularly inspiring when I see volunteers who make these contributions on a full-time basis. For some, it's being available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What an incredible sacrifice and commitment. These people are heroes. They do their jobs, complete their tasks, and advance their projects with little reward or recognition. Most are deeply committed to the cause for which they volunteer and would not have it any other way. If you are one of these people who continually or even sporadically offer your time and talent to groups that need your help, thank you. You probably don't hear it enough, but your contribution makes a huge difference. Your actions show others that you care and there is hope. For people who have little of either in their lives, your efforts mean so much. I will say it one more time to all of you out there who are volunteers. Thank you. And thanks for watching our show. Did we inspire or educate you in some way? You can send your thoughts and feedback to us through the email address listed on your screen. Check out our website. It is full of interesting features. Specifically, you can watch past episodes of Lakeshore Focus. Just go to www.lakeshorepublicmedia.org or scroll down until you see my picture with a different jacket and tie, most likely. One more click and you can view a list of previously aired shows. Tell your friends and family that you watched Lakeshore PBS. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.